I found out my best friend was dead because the police asked me why I'd helped them hide the body. That was the first sentence the detective said to me. Not, "I'm sorry for your loss," not, "We have some questions." Just that. I laughed, because it had to be a mistake. My brain refused to accept any version of reality where that sentence made sense. My friend was alive the last time I saw him. Annoying. Cocky. Late, as usual. The detective didn't laugh. Instead, he slid a photo across the table. It was Ryan. My face turned pale, eyes half open, a dark stain blooming across his chest, taken somewhere dim, concrete, unfinished. I stared at it too long before I realized I was shaking. I asked where they found him. The detective answered, "In a storage unit you rented." That's when the room started to tilt. Ryan and I had been friends since college, not inseparable, but close enough that people assumed we knew everything about each other. He was the reckless one, always chasing money, shortcuts, big ideas that never quite worked. I was the safe one, stable job, no debt, and no record, which is probably why he came to me the night everything went wrong. He showed up at my apartment after midnight, soaked in sweat, eyes wild, hands trembling. He said he'd screwed up, that someone had gotten hurt, not dead. He was very clear about that, but still hurt badly. He needed a place to lay low, just for a night. I remember hesitating in the doorway, thinking about how many times I'd bailed him out before. I remember telling myself this was probably another exaggeration, another mess that would look smaller in the morning, so I let him in. He paced my living room for hours, chain-smoking out the window, muttering about a deal gone bad, about a guy who wouldn't listen, about things escalating. I asked him if he'd called an ambulance. He snapped at me, told me not to ask questions I didn't want answers to. At some point, he asked me if I still had that storage unit from when I moved apartments, and I told him yes. He asked if he could put something there temporarily. I said no at first, flat out. That was the line I drew. He stared at me for a long time, then said quietly, "If you don't help me, this gets a lot worse." For both of us, I didn't understand what he meant. I thought he was bluffing. The next morning, he was gone. No note, no texts, nothing. 2 days later, the police knocked on my door. Back in the interrogation room, they played security footage from the storage facility. It was grainy, but clear enough. My car, my access code, me helping Ryan move a large plastic-wrapped bundle into the unit. I watched myself on that screen like it was someone else, someone stupid, someone who didn't notice how stiff the bundle was, how carefully Ryan avoided letting it bend. I tried to explain, tried to say, "I didn't know." The detective leaned back and said, "The medical examiner says he'd been dead for at least 12 hours before that footage." My stomach dropped. Ryan hadn't come to me after someone got hurt. He'd come to me after he killed someone, and I'd helped him hide it. They kept me for hours, let me talk myself into knots, then finally told me the truth. The body in the unit wasn't the first. Ryan had been involved in an underground gambling operation, high stakes, cash only, the kind of thing that attracts people who don't go to the police. 2 men had gone missing in the last 6 months, and Ryan was their prime suspect, until he disappeared because Ryan was dead too. Found that morning, shot once in the chest, dumped behind an abandoned warehouse, proper execution style. I felt something crack inside me that I didn't know how to name, grief tangled with terror and guilt, so thick it made it hard to breathe. They let me go, but took my phone. I went home and sat on my couch for hours, replaying every conversation. Every moment I'd ignored the warning signs. Every time I'd told myself loyalty mattered more than questions. That night, I got a message request on an app I barely used. No profile picture, not even a name, just one sentence. "You should have let him deal with his own mess." I didn't respond. Another message came through minutes later. "You helped him. That makes you involved." I didn't sleep. Over the next few days, the messages continued. Always short, always calm, always reminding me that I'd been seen, that I was known. The police said Ryan's killer was likely someone he owed money to, someone cleaning up loose ends. I realized, slowly, painfully, that I was a loose end. I stopped going to work. I avoided my phone, jumped at every sound in the hallway. Then I remembered something Ryan had said that night, almost as an afterthought. "If anything happens to me, check the folder." At the time, I thought he meant documents, or money. He meant emails. I logged into an old account we'd shared during college. Buried in drafts was a folder labeled insurance. Inside were names, dates, locations, photos, recordings. Ryan hadn't been reckless. He'd been preparing. I turned everything over to the police. Within a week, they arrested 2 men connected to the gambling ring. One of them had been pressuring Ryan hard, threatening him, following him. Ballistics matched the gun used on Ryan. The case unraveled fast after that. I was cleared officially. Unofficially, I still wake up sweating some nights, convinced I hear a knock at my door. Ryan's killer took a plea deal, life without parole. The storage unit was cleaned out, sold to someone else, like nothing had ever happened there. People still ask me what Ryan was like. I tell them he was loyal. Too loyal. And I learned the hard way that sometimes loyalty doesn't save anyone. It just decides who goes down with you. Like and subscribe for more.